Welcome to our presentation about the ethics surrounding autonomous vehicles. This website is dedicated to exploring the ethical implications of autonomous vehicles. It achieves this through a comprehensive structure of pages where each page dives into a different aspect of ethics and autonomous vehicles. This will allow us to gain a complete understanding of it and understand why people are scared of them and like why you shouldn't be. And for the homepage, the interactive element is a word cloud because a word cloud gets you thinking about objects and stuff and all the words associated and gets Jesus for them for why you want to explore this topic.
Hello, everyone. I'll talk about the history of autonomous vehicles. Um, to begin, I wanted to make the website a little bit fun. So if you scroll down a little bit, um, yeah, you have the option to be able to, it's just an interactive way of you can vote. And then I talked about how the first idea of an autonomous vehicle was made by Da Vinci, which was like a self-propelling car. And then the early beginnings, there was Fadier, who also invented a self-propelling car. And then there's the Lyrican Wonder, which was first introduced in 1925 by Francis Houdina, which traveled up Broadway and down Fifth Avenue through the thick of traffic jam. So you can see that on the screen with an image of it. And I also taught about or found information about how General Motors in 1939 introduced a bold vision at the New York World's Fair automated highways with driverless cars. And by 1958, General Motors had built a prototype that operated using magnetized spikes embedded in road and electromagnetic fields. Then go to the 1960s. Yeah. In the early 1960s, the researchers began experimenting with remote controlled systems to advance self-driving technology. At Stanford, James Adam developed the Stanford Cat equipped with cameras programmed to follow a line on the ground. Around the same time, John McCarthy, a pioneer in artificial intelligence, proposed the idea of computer-controlled cars that could drive themselves using visual input. And in 1977, Japan also joined the race with the Tsukuba Mechanical Engineering Lab autonomous car, which used cameras and analog computing to reach speeds of about 20 meters per hour on a designated course. Could you go up a little bit? Yeah, go up to where the quiz is. So there's a lot of information about the history of autonomous vehicles. I also made a quiz where you can match the car to the maker. So Jack, if you could quickly demonstrate how it works. Yeah. Uh, 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 the Lyrican Bundle was made by yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I also talked a little bit, go down. Yeah. Um go down, like way down. Sorry. Yeah, go up a little bit just before that. Go up a little bit. Yeah. I embedded a video on YouTube about the future of AVIS. AVs. And if you want to watch that video, you can be able to watch it directly from our webpage here. And then I added a link or a bibliography list of sources that I got my resources from and embedded them in the website. So you have access to everything. You can click on the video. I think it works.
I'm Brian DeLuca, and this is Tech Breakdown. Today, we're
Yeah. And yeah. the bibliography of everything. Now we'll talk about this demystifying AVs.
This page allows the user to understand the world of autonomous vehicles and explore what AVs are, how they work, and cutting-edge technologies that make them possible. From the SAE levels of automation, the user is able to learn about a globally recognized standard developed by the Society of Automotive Engineers, and it outlines the progression of no automation at level 0 to full autonomy of level 5. The text and the image next to it allow the user to kind of understand these different levels and the framework of development. And then if we scroll down, we kind of dive into the key components of AVs, the sensors, artificial intelligence, connectivity technologies that act as eyes and brains and networks of these vehicles. And then we have an interactive element here where if you press the plus button on each of the um, items, it will give a more in-depth explanation of GPS, LiDAR, AI, radars, and ultrasonic sensors, which are all key factors and parts of AVs that help in path planning and real-time decision making. And then if we scroll down, we dive into how AVs make decisions, and this is to help users understand how these vehicles are functioning. So it goes into the perception, localization, prediction, path planning, and control. And touching on each of these topics, this page helps the user understand and demystify all the technological terms in AV.
All right, so as you can imagine, the idea of having a self-driving car can be pretty appalling to some people. So this page kind of talks about the main concerns that people have with autonomous vehicles. And so through my research, one of the concerns I found was the safety and reliability of the vehicle itself. Basically, when you're driving, especially depending on what geographical location you're driving in, you'll always encounter difficult driving scenarios. And this concern revolves around the AV's ability to navigate through those difficult scenarios. And then you also have data privacy and security, because in modern autonomous vehicles, there's a lot of data that's gathered. And, there's also the potential for widespread cyber attacks. So people want to know whether or not those types of security attacks will jeopardize the control they have over that vehicle or the personal information that the user has inputted. And then you also have different ethical and legal implications where through those difficult driving scenarios that you encounter, sometimes there's unavoidable accidents where you don't know if that AV will prioritize the life of the passengers in the vehicle or pedestrians that are on the street. So there's a lot of ethical stuff that regarding that. And since this is a relatively new concept, there's no actual legal frameworks or precedents regarding who will be prosecuted, whether it's the developer or the person in the vehicle. So, and then the last concern is whether people will have a loss of control over that vehicle. And then there's also a loss of trust that comes with that. So since people have been driving manually their whole life, it's kind of difficult being able to give up that control and just fully rely on a machine to drive for you. And a lot of studies have shown how the public is significantly more uneasy when it comes to AVs rather than accepting of it. So it would take a pretty large amount of research and regulations for companies to gain that consumer trust back. So towards the bottom of this page, I have a survey that the reader is able to answer whether or not how comfortable they would feel completely giving up control and allowing an autonomous vehicle to drive them. So I have several different options, and then that would be to gather user data on how comfortable the public actually feels about autonomous vehicles.
Now to AVs in the news. The significance of this page is it describes how relevant AVs are in the news and along with like the topics that they fall under. This includes how autonomous vehicles works, which has two articles that describe like how the capabilities work and like how relevant they are and like how they all work together. It also includes how consumers feel about AVs, which is not very high because of all the recent accidents that have happened with Tesla and so forth. And the way to improve the trust is through having people experience the AVs. And then about the specific AVs is about Sony and Honda's AV and Tesla. And then the safety concerns are like how is having a computer drive better than having a computer drive better than having a human drive and vice versa. And like about Tesla being involved in probes. And then the future of AVs are and the improvement of technology. And the interactive element on this page is a Qualtrics survey I created that asks for your opinion on the articles described here and like if there's any improvements. And you get it. And then
So when it comes to the future of AVs, there's several different cities in the world that are already preparing and testing for AVs. Like the Bay Area, for example, Palo Alto is a major city that already has different autonomous vehicles in place. And so with the future also comes different negative impacts that could come, such as the urban planning of cities would shift drastically, and AVs could also kind of interrupt those driving related jobs like Uber, DoorDash, and those are people's main sources of income. So AVs could really either positively or negatively impact that. And then um, the main reason that AVs have become more widespread and popular is because they kind of offer a revolutionary way to a revolutionary aspect to the transportation industry. They're able to reduce traffic accidents since a lot of the times, or most of the time, when driving accidents are made, it's due to human error or not being able to think quick enough. And then AVs are usually electric, so it would also reduce carbon emissions. And it's also expected to lower different traffic fatalities since that's such a big cause of like loss of life is through like things like drunk driving or just uh impairment in general. So AVs could reduce the risk of that and then um hopefully eliminate the need for car ownership in general. And yeah, the only problem with this is that it's going to be hard to switch from manual to completely AVs. So you're going to have mixed roadways where there's both autonomous vehicles and manual vehicles. So this could cause a lot of conflict between humans driving and the machines that are driving. So as you scroll here, you have like an interactive graph that shows how popular autonomous vehicles are in the country of Poland. And then, yeah.
So we created a page for our opinions because we wanted to share our opinions on what we think and feel about AVs. Alina said, I personally do not think I would ever own an autonomous vehicle. Within the ones that currently exist, there seems to be a lot of flaws and risks attached to them. I also think I also don't think my anxiety will allow me to let go of controlling my own vehicle and relying on a machine to do it for me. Driving is not always an easy task, especially depending on where you are located. It involves a lot of ethical decisions and thinking quickly, which a machine may not be able to carry out the same way that humans do. I also think it is one step forward in making humans become lazier and relying on machines for basic tasks. Lastly, I would be concerned about the privacy of my data and map routes and how the vehicle company is using it. Jack said autonomous vehicles, AVs, have the potential to transform transportation in exciting ways. They could reduce accidents caused by human error, make travel more accessible for people who can't drive, and even help cut emissions if paired with electric technology. The idea of safer, more efficient roads is appealing, and it's exciting to think about how AVs could make our daily lives easier and more inclusive. That said, there are still big challenges we need to address. AVs struggle with unpredictable situations like bad weather, and ethical questions about how they make life or death decisions remain unanswered. Plus, there's the economic impact on jobs in industries like trucking, as well as real concerns about data privacy and cybersecurity. For this technology to work, we need thoughtful regulations that prioritize safety, fairness, and accessibility. I'm optimistic about AVs, but we need to move forward cautiously to make sure they truly benefit everyone. And I said, well, while I'm generally open to the concept of autonomous vehicles and could see myself owning one in the future, I maintain some reservations about ceding complete control to artificial intelligence. My stance is that autonomous vehicles should operate more as collaborative partners rather than completely independent decision makers. I believe the ideal setup would be a system where the vehicle can handle routine driving tasks but allow for human intervention and decision making when needed. This hybrid approach acknowledges both the benefits of autonomous technology and the unique value of human judgment. The key distinction is that machines, despite their sophisticated programming, lack the human element in decision making, that intricate combination of intuition, experience, and contextual understanding that humans possess. By maintaining the option for driver control, we can leverage the advantages of autonomous technology while preserving our ability to make critical decisions when circumstances demand it. This balanced approach will help ease the transition into autonomous vehicle adoption while addressing concerns about over-reliance on artificial intelligence in situations where human judgments might be preferable or necessary. And Tanvi said, I would not own a fully autonomous vehicle because I have concerns about the technology's reliability and safety. While advancements in AI and self-driving cars are impressive, I'm not entirely confident the systems are foolproof, especially in unpredictable real-world scenarios. Fully autonomous vehicles depend on sensors, algorithms, and massive amount of data, and even small glitches or misjudgments could lead to accidents. I also worry about the potential for cyber attacks or software malfunctions that could compromise the safety of the vehicle. On the other hand, I'll be comfortable owning a partially autonomous vehicle, a car with driver assist features like lane keeping, adaptive cruise control, and automatic emergency braking offers the convenience of some autonomy without relinquishing full control. This gives me the best of both worlds. I can still intervene if necessary, but I also have assistance in handling some of the more mundane aspects of driving. So that's what we thought. You can also tell us what you think about autonomous vehicles by following the is it Qualtrics? How do you say it?
Yeah, but following the Qualtrics survey and all the
Yeah,
questions in it.
yeah. Thank you.
And that brings us to our summary page. So this section provides a recap of the entire website and helps users quickly find information and page titles. There's also a recap quiz at the bottom for exploring this site. So it kind of dives into the history of autonomous vehicles, everything that Sam had mentioned earlier from the late 1400s to current time up to 2020. It also continues to discuss the demystifying AVs page and including the levels of automation 0 to 5 and then key components of sensors and etc. and then decision-making processes. And then the page also briefly goes over everything that was mentioned on the concerns page in regards to safety, reliability, data privacy, security, ethical and any legal implications, as well as loss of control and trust. And then the page also briefly mentions AVs in the news and key details in regards to localization, radar, sonar, cameras, and sensor fusion. The summary page also goes over the future of autonomous vehicles and what we can look forward to in the future in terms of development and any challenges that should be addressed. And there's a brief overview of the opinions on autonomous vehicles that each of us have shared. And then here, as mentioned, there is a recap quiz at the bottom that can help users interact and ensure that they have a good understanding of everything on this page. There's also a recap word cloud where if any prominent words or details come to mind about AVs, they can just type it into the word cloud and it makes a word page with all of the inputted words. And that's it.